Hello guys, good morning. Today we are going to detailedly discuss about how to fetch data from an API. So before starting to that, first we create a component called fetch data.jsx. Okay, so by default using export default our function and that function name fetch data. Okay, after that we have to open with one parenthesis flower braces. Inside that we have to explicitly given return statement, implicitly given return statement with some fragments. Inside we are going to add some h2 list of users. Okay, this is default thing. Let us check first. Before that, our local server is up and running, so I will tell you how to do that. npm start to start the local server. So now the server is started. Okay, now here we created the fetch data, but we have to import it in the app file. So go to app.js component. Inside that you have to call your fetch data component, fetch data, and save the file. If you go there, you can able to see list of users in our local server. So it is up and running. So now go to fetch data. Okay, there are some certain things we has to know. To fetch an API we require three things. First thing is we need to import hooks. Second thing is we need to define state. Third one is fetch data. Okay, let me explain now. Okay, so import hooks. Import hooks. So here, so what are the hooks we are going to use? We are going to use state and use effect. This is very important. Use state is used to store the data, and use effect is to perform data fetching when the component loads. Got it? Use state is used to store the data. Use effect to perform the data fetching when the component loads. Okay, this is the two hooks we are going to use. Okay, next thing is define state. Why we are using state? We have to create a state variable to hold the fetched data and optionally for handling, loading and error states. So got the point? So here we have to use one state variable. Okay, to hold the fetched data. Okay, and also optionally we can use for handling for the loading and error state. Okay, later than is fetched data using use effect. Using use effect to call the API when the component mounts. Usually the API call is asynchronous. Okay, the API call is asynchronous. So it is handled with promises. Handled with promises. In promises we can use dot then method, dot catch. This is the one way, or we can use async await syntax. Okay, so I hope you are understanding the definition. Let's move into the code level development. Okay, first I need to import use state and use effect. So before that, before exporting these things, I will import it here. Import use state, then use effect hooks from React library. Okay, next thing, we need to define the state. Inside this constant, what are the states we require? Let us keep simply users, and we need to set the users. Okay, this should always starts with array box array and use state. We are importing the use state hook. We have to mention the default value for that. So default value is empty array. Okay, then as I said, right, we have define state, one state variable to hold the fetched data, for set users to hold the fetched data, and also we can handle the loading and error state. So loading and error state we need to add. Okay, we need to define the state for loading and the error state. Constant is loading, set is loading equal to use state of this thing. So we don't know about this thing, so we can, for loading and set loading, we can go for the boolean option. Okay, for that we can use true. Okay, next error, constant error comma set error. Okay, this is use state. I think use state only we are doing. Initially we don't know about this thing, we can give us null. Default error we don't know, so we can give null. Next we have to use fetch data. Okay, so this import is done already here. Define the states with the date, hold the fetch data, handling and loading error. These things are done here. Okay, then we have to move on to fetch data. For fetching data, what we need? Use effect method. So use effect method, when it will render, once the component mounts, it will render. Okay, this is the syntax of use effect with empty array. It will execute only once. Okay, so inside that we can go. Now we can define some asynchronous function. Define an asynchronous function to fetch the data. Okay, so let's create one variable, constant fetch data. Okay, here we are going to use async method. Async using arrow method, we can going to use the try method. Inside try catch black, we can try to use try. Inside the try, we are trying to get response, constant response equal to, we are using fetch method, so we can use await keyword to fetch that fetch method. Inside that we can use some URL. Okay, for this URL we can get it from Google. JSON placeholder for get method. we can use this thing. Okay, we can use this fetch method, copy from here and go to your URL and paste it. Okay, JSON placeholder fetch method. Once you paste it, now we are trying to get the response from this endpoint URL. This is nothing but an endpoint URL. Okay, so if not response dot okay, okay, if not response dot okay, we have to throw some error. So throw new is nothing but create an instance of error. We can give our own message here. Network response is not okay. Okay, next, constant data, we have to get data. So data we can use await using this response dot, we are getting using the JSON method, we are converting into JSON. After that we need to set to this users. Okay, set users whatever we are getting the response data, that to the data. And also we have to, by default it is true, we need to make it false. Set loading false. Okay, so now this try block is almost done. So we have to go for catch. By catch here, if any error we have found, we can set error dot message, set loading, right? Set is loading. You will make it false. So try catch block is done now. Okay, so what we have done so far, so this is constant fetch data. We are going to fetch data using async await keyword. So this is a arrow function. Here inside that we are using try catch black. Try, we are trying to get response from this endpoint URL. If the response is not okay, then we have to throw error. Then we have to get the response. If we have got the response, means using this await response to JSON, we are converting to everything from the JSON method. This value is stored in the data, so we are assigning this data to the set user, and we are stopping the loading. And here if any error getting, we have to show the error message, and we need to stop the loading. Okay, this is how we have done so far. Then once we done this, we need to call this fetch data to get this. So we are doing inside use effect, so every time it will be render, and we are trying to get this thing. Okay, okay, next, this empty array, right? It ensures it runs only once when the component mounts. Okay, next we are going to display the data. To display the data, in the component return statement, handle the loading, error states, and the management over data to display it. Okay, for displaying data, before that we need something, so I will add it here. So here, if is loading, we have to return loading. Okay, if is error, we have to return error, something, page not found, okay, this is the default thing. So inside the return, we need to using the map method we need to show iterate the data. Okay, so let's use some UL unordered list. Using this list we can use some key which is very important. Using this key, and we have to show, okay, here we need to iterate this thing. Okay, so inside that, so whatever we are using this, here we are having the users, right? From users only we are trying to iterate the data. Users dot map method, this is a map method for iterating purpose. Here you can pass some any key, I can keep as user. Okay, then from that we have to pass like this. Okay, caught and keep it inside of it. Okay, now we have li key. Here user we have, so for unique key user dot id I can key one. Okay, here you can call user dot user id or id anything. Okay, so what we have to give here, that we want to know, right? For that case you can copy these things and go here and paste it here. You can able to get the JSON data array of objects, list of objects inside the array. So here we have user id title body, so we can give these key values here. So what is this? Model build file missing semicolon 14. Okay, let us see that. Before that, here user.id, for our identification I can give this thing, user dot title. Okay, so we have done one mistake. We have to check what is the mistake we have done. This is try block, this is catch block, this is fetching data. So we are doing correctly only. And async, sorry, spelling mistake, that is what. Okay, now let's try. See, now we are asking to user.id, right? So 1 it's iterating everything, and 2 it's iterating everything, and 3 it's iterating everything, 4 it's iterating everything. So at last we are able to iterate some items. Okay, hope you are understand and enjoyed this video. So if you see here, so this is 1 and this is title. Okay, so here 1, this is the title. So each and every components having 1 1 1 1 1. So it is very difficult to identify. So we can do, instead of this user id we can go with this id. So it is easy for us to track this. Okay, got it? So here if you see user id is 1, user id is 1, these are corresponding to same user id. So that is we can't able to find the thing difference. So I change to id, so it is coming alternately 1 2 3 4 like this. Okay, so this is the way we need to fetch the data from an API response. Currently we are using the post method, sorry, get method. So for this get method, this is fine. So this is having 4 different things to get, post, put, delete, like this, that we can learn in the further videos. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the video. Please subscribe and watch continuously.